Remember this little fella, the DJI Mini 3 Pro. Well, DJI have just dropped a new firmware, a big firmware for the DJI Mini 3 Pro and the DJI RC. Let's do this. So hello, welcome once again to the channel on this blustery, horrible day in the UK. Enough about the weather, as I'm sure you're sick of hearing about it from me. But that's the UK British weather for you. So, as I've just said, the Mini 3 Pro has just had a latest firmware update, and the aircraft firmware is 01000800, and the firmware for the DJI RC is 01031600. Lots of numbers and zeros to remember. So, what does it bring us? Does it bring us any new features? Does it bring us anything new to the system? Let's have a look in the video and find out exactly what it is. So with any firmware update, the best way to check is to go into your About section. As you can see there, my app version was 1.13.4. So we just check on the aircraft firmware, and if there's a firmware due, it should pop up and populate, as you can see just here, new firmware available. We click update, and that takes us to the update side of things in the controller. And as you can see just there, as I said earlier, Mini 3 Pro version 01000800 for the aircraft. Fix some known issues. Now, if you've been having problems with your Mini 3 Pro in the past and you've had to wait a long time for this update, this is probably going to fix any issues that you've had with the aircraft itself. And you can see underneath DJI RC 0103.1600. Same thing again, if you've had any issues with your controller, whether you've had freezing frames, black screens coming up, that kind of thing, then this is generally going to fix them kind of problems that you may have been encountering. A lot of us don't have any problems, but some of you out there do have issues with firmwares, and they do have issues with your aircraft and the RC itself. If you're one of them, then this could actually fix it for you. Once the update's complete, you can then go back into your menus, and if you click on the About section, you can see there 1.13.9. We've got the latest Fly app version at last on the Mini 3 Pro. And you can see the aircraft firmware 01000800 and the RC firmware 01031600. So everything is now up to date. What does it bring us? Well, I've had a quick look through the menus, and as you can see as I go through them, nothing is actually changed. There's no new features, and I wouldn't expect there to be any new features with this new update. However, it's always best to check your menus and make sure that your settings are as you had them set, because installing any new firmware on any of the devices from DJI, it can reset some of your settings that you previously had set. So one of the things that I always check in the safety side of things, I just check the max altitude to make sure that that still remains the same here in the UK, and it is above 120 meters. But I always go down to the bottom and check on the advanced safety settings, as I'm doing now, and just check that that return to home is selected. Checking in the control menu, just make sure that all your settings are set as they were. I'm not going to go through all my settings here with you in this video because we'll be here all week, but just go in and check things, make sure that you're on follow mode, make sure that your expo and gain settings are set as they were if you've altered them. And just check that your camera settings are set the same as well as they was before the update. I did get a small gap in the weather, so I decided to take it up from home and just check out a few of the functionalities with the Mini 3 Pro and make sure everything was working as it should. So just a very, very quick flight test this afternoon on the Mini 3 Pro. As you can see, that bad weather in the distance. I got a short break in the weather. So I'm just toggling through the sections of the modes, making sure that they all work as they should. I'm just going to do a very, very simple quick fly around and make sure that one or two things are working. Like I say, it's a very short test, and all I did is basically fly around the neighborhood and just make sure that things are working as they should be. You can see that the compass is acting pretty well, considering that the controller is in the middle. I know we've had some problems with compasses over the last couple of weeks, but that seems to be working as it should. I'm just going to do a quick couple of spotlights and make sure that that's working as it should. And you can see I'm pointing at the drone now, and that green dot in the middle is showing green, so everything's working fine as far as the compass goes. So just quick focus on a building, one of the neighbour's houses. I'm sure he won't mind. And I'm just going to do a quick spotlight just to make sure that things are working. I do like the spotlight feature. It's one of my favourite features on all the drones that have it. And it just saves time and enables you to do orbits around things very quickly and very easily. So you can select any part of the ground, a building, yourself, a person, a car, whatever. Spotlight is a great feature, and as you can see, it's working absolutely spot on, and there's no issues whatsoever. And as you can tell, I've speeded this bit up. We're just going to bring it down to land, and we'll call that one a wrap, and we'll summarise it back in the studio. So there you go. In summary, a new fly app 1.30.9 has now been added to the DJI RC. And to be honest with you, I can't believe how slow this is compared with the RCN2 controller. Obviously a better chip in the new controller, and that's why it's well, outdated now, I suppose, if you want to put it that way. But it does still do the job, as you know. You saw from that little flight test I did at home, I had a slight gap in the weather, so I thought I'd just get it up in the air and just fly around, do a little spotlight, that kind of thing, and just make sure that the controls are working and everything seems good from what I can see. So there we go. There's the update, new firmware update for the Mini 3 Pro and the RC, the RC1. There's nothing for the RCN1 controller. But just as an add to the end of this video, there is an update for the RCN2 controller for the Mini 4 Pro. So if you want to check that out, if you've got the RCN2 controller, there is an update for that controller as well. So there we go, in a nutshell. It's all up to date. Well, we've waited a very, very long time for this update to come, and it's now here. It's on the latest flyout version 1.13.9. and the latest firmware update on the RC1 controller. So if you've got any use out of the video and you find it informative, as always, don't forget, give us the old thumbs up. And if you're new around here, why don't you consider subscribing, dinging the dong, and all the rest of it that goes with it. I'm sure you know me by now. And you might like to watch those couple of videos I've chosen for you over there. And if you do, I shall see you over there. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.